I was preparing for my presentation, I was looking, of course, into the details of the SDGs, and I was particularly intrigued about the point 17.1, basically advancing the revenue of tax collection. And that's where I believe Liberland really comes in and does have an added value to the ideas that are presented here during Davos, because Liberland is coming with completely new idea, an idea to have voluntary tax system, and not just a tax system that is based on voluntarism, but also a system which rewards you whenever you pay taxes, which I believe really is the future. And we have proven that it is something that is workable. We have actually become one of the countries with biggest surplus of budget per capita in the world last year, which basically proves that the concept of building a country based on voluntary tax system with a reward mechanism for its citizen is a workable idea. This is an initial urban design for Liberland, as was designed actually at the end of last year by Zaharit Architects. And it's not just an urban design, actually. Zaharit Architects are helping us to turn it into fully immersive world. We started building metaverse sometime before it has become a buzzword. We really wanted to have a nice way to present the investors and citizens how Liberland will look like in the future. But somehow it has become one of the coolest projects right now within our ecosystem as well, because we've got a lot of companies. We have one of the biggest galleries in Switzerland that are moving in. And interestingly enough, I think the rents in the real world will not be as high as they are actually currently now in metaverse. So we're literally riding on this hype that has been created around metaverses. And the cool thing about this place, this is a digital twin to real territory which we're planning to develop. So what we are planning to do is literally Freeport on Danube River. Liberland is located between Croatia and Serbia. Our idea is to basically build new Singapore in Europe, which will be extremely crypto-friendly, and we will be introducing these new ideas about the governance, utilizing to the limit the blockchain technologies and the ideas of freedom that have proved to be successful in past. So this is how Liberland looks right now. The great thing is that Liberland was actually formed on terra nullius. It was not claimed by any country before its foundation. And it is a beautiful piece of land, 7 square kilometers, or 3 times bigger than Monaco. It has a beautiful sandy beach in the front. Our biggest challenge currently is the settlement of Liberland, but we still have a lot of homework to do in terms of finalizing urban design, putting together the fund for development, finalizing the constitution, and getting our blockchain governance up and running. But all these things are literally coming to final round of iterations over this August, which will be the time when we are going to release our blockchain governance as well as our latest version of the constitution. So yes, we really want to maximize the amount of personal and economic liberty and minimize the state. What the goal of Liberland is actually to separate the state and economy. Just like there was a separation of church and the state in past, which I think has proven quite beneficial, I believe there is a time to separate the state and economy, and that's one of the main missions of Liberland. And we were also inspired by places like Switzerland. That's why we have direct democracy built into our blockchain governance. And also places like Singapore, where there is a meritocracy in place. We have classical division of power, which I think is also one of the good principles of running a country. And we only have 4 ministers. And we are limited by the constitution to not have more than 4, because we believe the more ministers you have, the bigger the state grows. So we're literally taking care of just security, justice, and diplomacy. And finance, Mr. Navit Sabarin, he's with us here. He's our finance minister. He is actually going to replace me for other presentations during Davos, because I need to fly to Washington, D.C. for a serious round of diplomatic discussions over there. But those are our 4 ministries, and I truly believe that's, that having as little regulations and as little bureaucracy is one of the key keys to the successful building of a country. A little bit about our blockchain. We have taken a Polkadot ecosystem, and maybe you have seen the Polkadot house is one of the, I would say, most living one. Yesterday it was a nice party. Today I think there is another big event, and Gavin Wood, the founder of that ecosystem, is coming down today. We are happy that we are getting a lot of support from them, because what we're doing is not a traditional blockchain. It is a blockchain that is meant to be there for running of the country, with all the land registry, company registry, system of courts, Congress, Senate, all built on one blockchain platform for complete transparency, which I also believe that radical transparency for running of the state is one of the key ways for success. And we have a system of merits. So whenever you pay taxes in Liberland, you get merits in return. And these merits get you citizenship. They get you a voting power inside of the system. And we truly believe, that the combination, a healthy combination, basically, of corporation, republic, and direct democracy is the way to go for the countries in this new millennium. As I already mentioned, public veto is one of the key elements, but I would like to reiterate it. We believe that majority of society should be able to get rid of any law or any regulations that they don't like. They should be also able to get rid of people that they don't like in the government. But we are not giving majority of society a power to install new laws, because I think that's not good. And you can also see that it's not working very well here in Switzerland, or it's working quite well, but I would say there are much more public vetoes that were proven to be beneficial than there were referendums whenever majority was trying to impose something, like, for example, tax 5% of richest people in Switzerland. While you having all these great vetoes, so the people get rid of the regulations that the government has put together. And again, I always believe that less laws and less regulations you have, the better. So that's why we're giving this power to the people. And we have I would say, quite advanced plan for the justice system of Liberland. Everything, again, on blockchain, compatible with smart contracts. So Liberland jurisdictions could be used in other smart contracts through bridges for dispute resolution, for online blockchain dispute resolution, which I also believe there is a little competition in that space, and that itself has a big future. We're working hard to get Liberland recognized around the world. I'm actually heading to another UN country for recognition the coming weekend. We already signed a number of treaties with sovereign countries. We're working hard on humanitarian efforts all around the world. Those are the countries where we are most active in terms of humanitarian aid. This was actually the first recognition or first deal we made with a sovereign country. Maybe some of you have heard about Somaliland. It's a very interesting story of a country that is not recognized yet, working as a fully functional country for more than 30 years. And we have committed to mutual support. And I'm also promoting their recognition as part of my diplomatic journey, because I think the recognition of Somaliland is long overdue. We're working hard in European Parliament with members of European Parliament and with the European Commission to get more recognition and more support for our activities. We're very active in the United States. This was an event organized specially for congressmen and senators in the United States. And I'm actually flying right now to Washington, D.C. The presentation will be at Capitol. So I think it's very important to have a strong support from the United States for the creation of Liberland. And we have a lot of things in common. Liberland was actually started on the birthday of Thomas Jefferson. We wanted to invoke the spirit of American Revolution while we were starting the country. Our last diplomatic trip was in October last year. We were there for the announcement of Bitcoin City. And as you probably know, Liberland was the first country to adopt Bitcoin as a currency, long before El Salvador, 6 years. So we're a little bit ahead of our time, but we were very happy that we were invited for the launch of Bitcoin City by President Bukele. And this is the picture with the Minister of Economy. It was a great opportunity to learn more about how El Salvador works and how its Bitcoin adoption is going. And as I already mentioned, we're building Metaverse, which is based on our urban plan, which was designed by Zaharit Architects. I'm quite happy. I just learned actually they are the most published architectural studio in the world. They're number one, literally, in terms of number of articles around the world, but they're literally top 10 architectural studio in all aspects, and it's a great partner for us to do this. I don't think any other metaverse has such a renowned architectural studio to help build the metaverse itself. And we are also physically present in Liberland. We're building a village right across Danube River as our base for the settlement of Liberland. We're building more and more boats and houseboats to be physically present in Liberland. Yet it proves to be one of the most challenging things right now. We have to finalize our relations with Croatia before we will be able to physically start building in Liberland. And that's why I'm here in Davos. I want to meet the powers that are also here, of course, from Croatia. And I want to move our relationships to next level. Those are the houses that we're building in the village. That's how the first Floating Man Festival started. It was 3 years ago, but now we have grown to 1,200 people actually, and this year we are planning to have 3,500 people for the event that is going to happen in Liberland. That's the base that we have. That was the last year's event, and that's one of the key events. If you're ever interested in visiting Liberland, coming to the Floating Man Festival, I would say, is one of the most interesting events throughout the year. We're also planning to have a TEDx for 100 people, very limited conference that will be part of this festival. So, contact me or just look up the website and join us. And also, it's nothing easier than to become citizen of Liberland. I think it is interesting to have more than one citizenship. And Liberland is a vibrant community of like-minded individuals that share the future ideas of how countries should be built. And I truly believe that's one of the strongest motivation for a nation building is when people agree on the way they want to govern themselves. So that's it from me. I hope to see you in Liberland sooner or later. And if not, we will see each other on probably another Davos. Thank you.